we're going to look at some ways to combine tables in Excel. And notice in my workbook, I am in the Combine Tables spreadsheet. All right, so what I have is two tables, and the one table just gives me some specifics about some different claim IDs. And one of the fields in this table is Employer ID. And if you will note that this is in column B, and also that my first Employer ID is in row 6, so B6. All right, now I want you to notice that as we scroll over, we have a second table. And this table gives me more information about the employer. Using the employer's ID, we can tell if that employer is self-insured or not. And what I'd like to do is take the information about whether they're self-insured or not and add it to the claim ID table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link these two together in a way. I'm going to take the employer ID from the first table, match it with the employer ID from the second table, and then grab whether they are self-insured or not and put it over here in the J column. So this is what the formula is going to look like. The formula is called Vlookup. I'm going to find that employer ID in cell B6. Then I'm going to search the employer table, which remember is columns L and M. And when I find it, I'm going to return the value that is in the second column of that employer table, which is either a yes or a no. This false is an indicator in this formula that says the employer ID has to be an exact match. If you say true here, it says it can be an approximate match. A little counterintuitive, but that is what that means in this particular formula. The false is saying the matches have to be exact. All right, so let's try it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to copy paste here. All right, and now I'm going to go over here to the J cell and paste that formula and hit enter. All right, it did not work. So let me make sure I put the equal sign here and let me try it again. And there we go. And so it looked up 7. And because that's the first employer ID in the claim ID table, it found it over here, and the value in the second column is no, and so we got a value of no right here. And so now I just want to fill that all the way down, so I'm just going to double click in the corner, and now it populates that entire table for me, which is very nice. Now let's suppose I want to know of these claim IDs, how many of them were claims where the employer was self-insured. All right, so this is a pretty big table, and I don't want to have to go in here and count all of this. So I can use what's called a count if formula. So it's going to look at all the observations between J and J6 and J3042. So that's my entire table, and it's going to simply count the observations that have a value of yes. So let's go ahead. I'm going to grab that formula. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to put it here in this particular cell. So I'll say equals and paste my formula, and the answer is 751. All right, so those are both very handy formulas for both combining tables and counting observations in Excel. You can always find additional information about Excel functions using the help feature, Vlookup, and you'll be able to see more help on this function, some examples, what the arguments are, etc.